Welcome to the Veterans Impact Show, where our commitment is to help, hope, and healing of our veteran family and our nation. I'm Jim Blythe, a U.S. Navy veteran and a certified senior advisor. Join us as we continue the mission of leadership and commitment to our communities and our great country. Why, you never know where we're going to go or who you're going to meet. We invite you to join in, plug in, and share in what we do. This is your Veterans Impact Show.
Well, great day. This is Jim Blythe and Cedric White, my co-host, my pastor, my friend. And boy, let me tell you, he and I have some of the greatest discussions. For years, I had a close friend trying to get me to go to a program in Navasota with an organization called Joni and Friends. I actually met Joni, and he is my friend that was a quadriplegic, introduced me to Joni, who's a quadriplegic, and she developed a foundation to help people with disabilities. So Cedric said, you got to go with me. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Show up. And I'm like, wow, in Navasota, Texas. So we're here today. I want to, Cedric, you please introduce Mary Grace.
Well, first, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us today. We are excited to have a young lady with us today that has become a friend, she's more than a collaborative partner. She brought us into Joni and Friends, and she brought us in to work with disabled families, to work with veterans, but she has become literally a friend of ours, and we're happy to introduce Mary Grace Burkey of Joni and Friends. Now, Mary Grace is the senior operations manager here in Texas, and she runs an outstanding, not just Warriors Retreat, not just disability family retreats, but she does a lot here in Texas. So, Mary Grace, welcome to the Veterans Impact Show. And just, if you would, give us a brief overview of how you got involved with Joni and Friends and what you're doing today.
Well, good morning. Yeah, I started as a volunteer with Joni and Friends 25 years ago. And so I have been serving with the organization for the past 25 years, and I've been on staff as the senior operations manager for Joni and Friends Texas for almost 9 years now. So it's been a passion of mine my entire life.
Well, we're going to show some wonderful footage of some of the things going on. The Warrior Retreat in Navasota that we went to is one of the most amazing things I've ever participated in. You have great training,
yes,
and you did quite a bit of training, yes, as well. And you have activities, for the families, for the children. Diane got to participate in that. So could we go ahead and play Becky's interview that I did with her at the swimming pool party? Hi, this is Jim Blythe, Veterans Impact Show. We're here for you at a fun event. This is the Warrior Getaway with Joni and Friends. And I have the original director, Becky. Becky, tell us a little bit, not only about the Warrior Getaway with Joni and Friends, because a lot of people don't know.
Absolutely. Joni and Friends is an international disability ministry founded by Johnny Erickson Tata. And our mission is to communicate the gospel and to mobilize the church to reach families all over the world impacted by disability. And one of the ways that we do that is by our Warrior Getaway, which is where we are today.
Isn't this fun?
Oh, it's so
and these
fun.
Children, this is a family event.
Absolutely. We know that the wounds of war, whether visible or invisible, impact not just the veteran, but the caregiver, the children. And so our mission here is to serve each and every member of the family, letting them know that they are deeply loved by God.
I got to tell you, this is a great event. Now, they do these warrior events across the nation. And you do a family event for people with disabilities.
We sure do. We are nationwide. We are international. And we do family retreats every summer, serving the entire family touched by any disability at any age of life for 5 days of slam dunk, out of this world fun, fellowship, and respite.
You know what I got to do today?
What's that?
I got to go shoot skeet with a bunch of veterans. Have fun.
Did you hit something?
Yes, I did. You know, I'm not as bad as I thought I was going to be. But also what I really got to do is be a part of veterans group and meet with guys like Jay, who's on the board of a company that builds a phenomenal wheelchair that basically uses wheels and uses technology that's unbelievable. We have met so many great people and made new friends. And I hear the same thing. My family loves to come here, and the kids have a ball. My wife has helped out with the children, and she's had a ball. This is a great, great event. But one of the things I asked you a while ago, which was kind of a personal question, how much does it cost? Well, these things aren't free, but it is free to the veteran family.
Absolutely. We believe so strongly in our mission that we provide 100% scholarship for all the veteran families to attend.
So what we're asking with Veterans Impact Show, go to johnnyandfriends.org.
Absolutely.
Go to johnnyandfriends.org. There is a donate button.
Yes,
but learn about it. Talk about it. Talk to friends with disabilities. Talk to veterans. This is important. So it's JONI and friends.org,
Yes.
right? All right, Becky, thank you so much for being on board. This is Veterans Impact Show. We're here for you. Now, that was a lot of fun. I mean, we had a ball at that deal. And yes, I got to do some skeet shooting or trap shooting. And I had a bruise for 3 days after that. It's been a long time. This is so great. All of the things you do and the speakers you have, Mary Grace, tell us a little bit about the classes that are put on.
Yeah, so while the kids at Warrior Getaway are doing all those fun activities like swimming and drum circles and things like that, we have speakers and presentations available to the veterans and their caregivers to be able to learn more about what's happening in their brain, how to begin moving forward to heal the wounds of war. And so we bring in professionals who know what they're talking about, who have the information and the knowledge to share. And then we also offer counseling sessions while they're at Warrior Getaway. And that's something that Cedric and Michelle have done with us for several years now, is come in and provide that counseling to the veterans and their caregivers.
I think that's really important. I know that I was amazed and I learned a great deal, and I was there just as a volunteer, but it's so important. And this is at one of the most beautiful retreats I have ever seen.
Right.
In Navasota, Texas, which is just north of Houston. And it is a opportunity for a transformative situation to go to, not just a retreat to have fun,
Right.
shoot ski,
Even rest.
ride horses.
Even rest.
Yeah, even rest. And boy, there were a lot of people there. Where is such and such? Oh, they're taking a nap. It is such a beautiful place. Fishing. Diane was working with some kids in fishing, and it was just tremendous. So it's a lot of fun, but it's a transformational experience. Wouldn't you say, Mary Grace?
Oh, absolutely. And that's one of the things that we like to bring into Warrior Getaway is fun, because life after war can be pretty difficult. It's serious. It can be heavy for these families, not just for the veteran, but also for their spouse and their children. So we like to bring that fun element into Warrior Getaway just to lighten the experience and to bring families back together, to help them connect with each other again. Because when you're at home, when you've returned from war, a lot of times it's busy. There's appointments, there's doctor's appointments, there's counseling for the kids, things like that. And so we want to make sure they have time to reconnect, and Camp Allen is a wonderful place for them to get to do that.
Mary Grace, I observed a lot of transformation going on. Many of the time, these people have been there several times. Can you tell a more specific story about somebody who came and maybe they were in a shell and all of a sudden they break out of the shell by being part of this total deal? Can you explain a little bit or tell a story about that?
Yeah, so we see that a lot at Warrior Getaway, and Warrior Getaway is not just meant to be a one-time getaway for these veterans and their families. We allow veterans to attend for a couple of years or even several years based on the needs of their family. And so what we're starting to see now is some veterans who have attended for 2 or 3 years, they are wanting to move into a volunteer role. They've benefited so much from what Warrior Getaway has to offer that they're now ready to start sharing their growth and their experience with the next generation of veterans who are coming into Warrior Getaway. So we love to see that at Joni and Friends, that it's not just a 5-day getaway for them to come have fun. We build community at Warrior Getaway, and we host events throughout the year to keep those warriors connected with each other once they leave the getaway, so that community gets to continue in their life and they can continue to grow and recover.
It's a fantastic experience. And one of the things you were doing, marriage counseling, that is your forte, is
Right.
the marriage management. Tell us a little bit about that, Cedric, and what you did there.
Well, we have the opportunity quite often dealing with a disability, dealing with being a caregiver, dealing with just family, the normal situations that families have to deal with, that coupled with a person who's suffering from maybe a TBI, had maybe lost limbs or some sort of disability, is trying on families. And so what Joni and Friends has brought Michelle and I at Healing Line Hearts in is to be that resource to help couples and families come together to bridge that gap, to help them with communication, whatever it is that they're dealing with, to be a vehicle. So that sometimes it's just a matter of, I just need to talk this out. I haven't had anybody that I trust that I can talk with this to, and we're able to sometimes just sort of direct them just a little bit, make some small tweaks that sometimes make huge changes in their life. It's a paradigm shift, like you were saying. Sometimes there's a transformation that's made right there, but I haven't had the opportunity or the place that I could share this. And they come in and they share their stories with us, and we're able to assist them along. And it's one we like to say, we get to do this. We don't have to do this, right? That old saying, when your job is a thing that you love, then you never ever work a day in your life. And that's what it is being there at Joni and Friends, the Warriors Retreat.
Well, it's definitely a focus on the family, and you're giving the caretakers a break.
Yes.
That was one of the most amazing things, because I joked a minute ago, but it's really true. Sometimes the caretakers, the mamas, don't get a break when they're taking care of a disabled veteran.
Yes.
And they're taking care of children. And then now you see all of this family getting to do these fun things together. Wow, that's huge, and it's important. So, Mary Grace, I want to kind of stop for a second and send people to the website, joniandfriends.org, correct? Okay, but how does somebody sign up? How does somebody qualify as a veteran family?
Yeah. So we are just now kind of wrapping up our Warrior Getaways across the country for 2024. But applications for 2025 are going to be opening in January. And so if veterans and their families go to joniandfriends.org, they will see those applications opening in January for Warrior Getaways across the entire country, not just here in Texas. So there's opportunities for everyone to be a part of it. And to qualify for it, our purpose is to serve our military veterans. And so any combat veteran is welcome to apply and to come. We'll review their application, and once approved, to come out and spend time with us at the Getaway. We're not era specific, so it doesn't have to be post 9/11 veterans. We love to bring in veterans from all of the wars that we have been a part of. And so this year we actually had a really great combination of post 9/11 veterans as well as Vietnam vets. And so we really like having that type of community and that type of diversity at the Getaway.
Yeah, it was especially fun for me as a Vietnam vet who served in the Navy. And I think that we have a unusual, or maybe a culture within our veteran community, that it's easier for us to talk to each other.
Yes.
And it's easier especially for someone who was in combat and hurt, disabled, TBIs, loss of limb,
right,
or any number of things, to open up and talk to another veteran, even though maybe I wasn't injured. I didn't go through what you did, but I did something else.
Right.
But the main thing is, we all raised our right hand and we all swore and we served. That's an amazing thing. So you are bringing service to our veterans. And again, we want to send people to johnnyandfriends.org to sign up. Again, I want to make a point. The cost for the veteran and their family is zero, correct?
Correct. That's our commitment to our veterans, that we're not just serving them through the getaway. We want to make sure that there is no barrier, even a financial barrier, that prevents them from being able to attend a getaway. So we have generous donors all across the country and across the world who support the work that Joni and Friends does. And so we maintain a 100% scholarship for all the veterans and their family members. And so no cost is involved with that. And then our volunteers come in to serve alongside us. And our volunteers are incredible because they don't just come serve at Warrior Getaway. They actually pay for the opportunity to serve our nation's veterans. So we have a great combination of things.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to explain that, Mary Grace, because I think that's admirable that people see the need to the point to where they're not just volunteering their time, they actually pay to come and serve our veterans. That's almost unheard of. It really is. Yeah.
And we have just the most incredible volunteers who support what we do. We're so thankful for each and every one of our volunteers.
Well, I'm going to do better next year because the first year, you're kind of like, whoa, what is going on? But you develop these friendships.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, it's truly amazing. And we've got a couple of interviews that are going to come up later in the program where we talk with Ed and we talk with Jay.
Right.
And let me tell you, what you hear from their own story is amazing. This is an important thing. And again, I'm telling you, go to Joni and Friends and donate. Be a part of it. You may not go to Navasota, or if you're in other places in the nation, you have a bunch of these. You have about 7 or 8 of these around the nation, don't you, Mary Grace?
Yes, we do.
Can I say this, Jim?
Yeah, please.
Because I've been involved for a few years, you hear stories from veterans that have gone to other retreats. Mm-hmm. The one that's done here in Texas so far exceeds everything and gets more accolades than any of the other retreats around. I'm not downing them. Go to them, right? That's good. You may not be able to come.
Well, it's all because of Mary Grace.
It's all because
bigger and better in Texas, right? Right, Mary Grace?
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, let me tell you, your smiling face every morning, but the way you organized everything and the way you had everything set up, it was seamless. It just looked like everything flows without any effort. I know you were like that duck serenely going across the water, but boy, underneath you're going. Yeah. All right, we're going to take a break to hear from our sponsors and the people who help us out. This is Veterans Impact Show, and we're here for you, and I want to say thank you so much. And we're going to continue this conversation with Mary Grace and other veterans that were at this event. So we'll be right back after these words. This is Veterans Impact Show. We're here for you. Welcome back, and thanks to our great sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage, Healing Thine Heart's Ministry, and Symbios Integrative Health. Now, let's get back to this conversation.
Well, thank you for joining us. I am Cedric White, co-host here with my host, Jim Blythe, the man. We've got Mary Grace Burkey from Joni and Friends joining us today, and we're so glad to be back because of the wonderful thing. Go out to Joni and Friends, johnnyandfriends.org, Joni, Joni, and friends.org, and become a part of this. Listen, this is one of the most worthwhile organizations that we collaborate with. And they do so much all over. You said before break, Jim, how Mary Grace always has that smile on her face, and she does it well.
Yeah.
I get to see a lot of the things that are behind the scene and some of the things that go on. I've been involved in some of the things, but the wonderful thing, Mary Grace, you said 25 years. You've been here 25 years, which means you've seen a lot. You've seen a lot. But tell us some of the intricacies that goes into preparing, where people can go to get on board, those kind of things. Volunteers, anybody that's interested, give us some background on it.
Yeah, so there are quite a few elements that go into a warrior getaway, but volunteers are really the biggest thing. Joni and Friends operates all over the world, not just here in the United States, and 96% of our events and programming that we do every year runs on our volunteers. That means only 4% of Joni and Friends staff is responsible for the work that goes on. 96% of it, we rely on our incredible volunteers who come alongside us. And so we do those warrior getaways for wounded veterans and their families. And we also do family retreats for families living with disability. And so our volunteers have a variety of things to pick from. So if maybe, summer camp with kids isn't so much your thing, Warrior Getaway would be a great opportunity for you to give back to our nation's veterans. And so a lot of people come and just volunteer only with Warrior Getaway because that's where their passion is. They want to serve our nation's veterans and have an opportunity to give back. And so they come to us for that opportunity. And we are so thankful for them.
Absolutely. And one of the things I want to mention as well, it's beautiful down there in Navasota in the Piney Woods. This is 1,400 acres. I believe it's owned by the Episcopal Church, and it's used throughout the year. And it's more like a resort with hotel-type rooms, and it's not camping out. It ain't your Boy Scout camp that I grew up going to where you slept in a tent. No, we had an air-conditioned, beautiful room and all the facilities that go with it. And the food was very, very good.
The food.
Yeah, you told me that, and I gained a couple of pounds back. I'm still trying to get it back. I think it's important too. Do we have time? I'm going to ask Jordan if he could play that interview that you did with Jay.
That one.
Is that the short one? Or?
No, we do have time for that.
Yeah.
Okay, the one with Ed. Okay.
All right. Let's show that one with Ed because it's really, really gives you a better idea. Jordan, go ahead, please. Hi, this is Jim Blythe, Veterans Impact Show. I'm here with my partner, Cedric White, and we're talking to a great American veteran. Cedric, introduce Ed.
Well, Ed Blackwell, thank you for joining us here. Ed is this guy has gone through enough military service, and I want him to tell us about it, but Ed he's been a Marine, he's been in the Army, and I think it was, what else did you do, Ed?
Finished up in the Army National Guard.
Army National Guard. So he just could not get enough of serving his country. We're here at the Joni and Friends Warriors Retreat, and we wanted to get some of the guys that have participated in it before, some of the guys that are veterans, not of just the military, but veterans of this retreat. And we wanted to hear straight from the horse's mouth. Ed, how has this affected you and your family?
Well, it's affected me and my family mostly by being very uplifting. It's inspirational. It sheds light on the path that we can and should be walking versus the path that we should not be walking and should steer away from.
Okay.
So it's very a positive light.
So tell our audience, what are some of the things that you get to do and you get to participate in while you're here at Joni and Friends Warriors Retreat?
I think the biggest thing for me is the ability to socialize with my brothers and sisters of service.
Okay.
Get to communicate, socialize with them, and then get to take part in a veteran group Bible study, prayer meetings, and uplifting conversations about where we are, where we've been, and where we're going.
Okay.
And it's very inspiring.
How does it affect your family?
It affects my family by giving me the ability to be more open about who I am and where I've been and what I've done.
Okay.
And sometimes those are things that are not easily spoken of. But the more I attend Joni and Friends, makes it a little bit easier every time.
Okay. So I don't want to belabor, but I do want to find out, Ed, what area of trauma, what area have you been affected by your military service that you feel like, okay, I can get a benefit from being here at Joni and Friends?
Well, I guess the easiest way I can bring that to light is being at Joni and Friends helps me and gives me the ability to communicate with others and openly communicate with others about things that have taken place in my life, about things I've witnessed in my life, and about the way I want to live my life and how positive I want to be while I do have a life here.
Okay. Lastly, I want to ask you, if you were to talk with a person who'd never attended Joni and Friends, who didn't know about the retreat, what would you tell them to entice them to come?
What I would tell them that I feel that would entice them to come is to tell them that if you go, I'll tell you, I'm not going to tell you you'll enjoy it, but you'll be dumbfounded by how much you will enjoy it. The socializing with friends and fellow veterans, and even just people in need, is so uplifting and moving that you get so much out of it. You can't go wrong by being at Joni and Friends.
All right. Well, Ed, thank you for being here. We appreciate you taking time out for us.
My pleasure. I certainly am.
Welcome back, and thanks to our great sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage, Healing Thine Hearts Ministry, and Symbios Integrative Health. Now, let's get back to this conversation.
I got to tell you, that was a great interview. I'd like to say, though, a quick thank you, not only to Joni and Friends and Mary Grace and Becky, but I'd like to say thank you to the DBTV network and the AUN network in California for all you're doing for us, putting us on Amazon Fire, Roku, TVs across the United States and around the world. I really want to say a special thank you to the Jeff Crilly, the Real News Studios, for helping us with this, and for my employer, Fairway Independent Mortgage, and your church,
Healing Thine Hearts.
Healing Thine Hearts.
Yes, sir.
I got to tell you, we also have Symbios as a sponsor, so thank you for all of those who bring this program where we can help people. That's what it's all about. Let's go back, though, and we're talking about Joni and Friends and Joni Eareckson Tada. I met her a number of years ago. Amazing human being. And she brings a level of care that I saw exhibited by you, Mary Grace, and by Becky, and by the other volunteers who'd been there many times. Right. I was truly amazed at the interaction with everybody. And I think the way the children and the way the families reacted was truly amazing, really amazing. So did you have to go through a lot of training, or was it just your 25 years of being there that trained you? How did that work?
Yeah, so it really probably, a lot of it goes towards that 25 years of serving with Joni and Friends, first as a volunteer and then as a staff member. And that's one of the things that Joni and Friends, we really focus on, is the personal interaction and the personal care for each and every person we serve. We don't just, sign people up and bring them to an event. We build a relationship with them, and we keep in touch with them throughout the year. We let them know that we're there to support them, not just at one of our retreats or getaways, but at any time throughout the year. And a lot of these people that we've been serving for 25 years here in Texas have become like a part of our family. Yes. I'll run into them when I'm out at dinner with my husband and stuff like that. And it's just as exciting to see them anytime throughout the year as it is to see them at a retreat or a getaway. And so we really focus on personal relationships with the people we serve.
It really is. And I enjoyed meeting Ed, the man you just interviewed.
Yes.
That had to be the biggest character. I got to tell you, that guy is a jokester and a half. It's fun to be around him. I got to tell you, we have another interview that you did that's with an amazing person. Jay, let's you interview and talk with Jay. And can you play that for me, Jordan?
That's that 7-minute one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. The little. Hi, this is Jim Blythe with Veterans Impact Show. We're here with Johnny and Friends and my co-host and partner, Cedric White. Cedric, I want you to introduce this really great guy and tell us a little bit about him and his directorship in a company that makes a phenomenal machine.
Well, listen, I'm sitting here with Jay Fondren. I've told him several times, Jay is like a hero to me, mainly because of his attitude toward life in general, his willingness to work with veterans, his ability not to, like some people will do, spend time complaining and crying in their suit. Jay has taken what they call taking lemons in life and made it even better than lemonade. Yeah. You made that top line, lemonade. And I love sitting here with Jay. Not only that, but Jay is on the board of a company that makes the great wheelchairs. From the first time I saw Jay, I was astounded by how this guy could get around. Mm-hmm. I love what he does. I love his message. So Jay, I'd like for you to tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your military history, a little bit about what you're doing now, and then we'll bring in the fact about how what you do here at Joni and Friends and how it affects you and your family.
Yeah, absolutely. So, thanks for having me. So my name is Jay Fondren. I'm a retired U.S. Army Staff Sergeant. I deployed to Iraq in 2004 with the 1st Cavalry Division. Okay. Lost my legs the day before Thanksgiving in 2004. Not how I really wanted to spend Thanksgiving that year.
Right.
Wound up a triple amputee, came back. The Lord really, just got me and my wife and my family through that. And then coming on the backside of that was, how do we continue to serve, right? How do we allow God to take this trauma, this pain, this hurt that we've gone through, because he's allowed us to come out the other side. Yes. How do we reach back down and help that other warrior, and family support member that's coming through that? And so part of that, one of the big things for us was we got introduced to an organization called SEGS for Vets, and they have a sister organization called Draft. And it's all about taking off-the-shelf technology, like my cool wheelchair. Yeah, it's a Gen 2 Segway that someone put a box on with a seat, right? Okay. And so, but they take stuff like that and they use it to give us more independence and freedom. And when I have my independence and freedom, like little things, right? For me, a triple amputee to be able to go on a walk with my kids, or when my little girl gets on her bicycle and she goes, I can roll behind her to the bus stop, right? Yes. And all the things that I get to do with it, just it gives me the ability to do, because it's so much when you're disabled, so much of life is just your energy spent just trying to survive society. Yes. Yes. And then when you can take that energy and then put that back into relationships with your family and with your loved ones, that's where the payoff's going to be. So it's cool, these organizations that do stuff like that with the chair, and organizations that do different things and provide different opportunities for us. That's really cool. Right. And kind of the thing with Joni and Friends, what's really cool is you might hear somebody tell you, well, you need this trip. Mm-hmm. You needed to go do this. You need to go do that. And while that might be the case, that you might be in a position where you need some stuff, you and your family deserve to come on this trip. Yes. Right? Because I can guarantee you might be like, Jay, the gospel side of it, the Jesus, that might not be my cup of tea. Mm-hmm. I can guarantee you that you're not going to come anywhere with your family, and your kids and your wife are not going to be loved on like they're loved on here. They're going to get to spend time with other kids and other family members who are in a similar situation to you, who understand the trials, the pains, the struggles, the whole thing. My kids look forward to this coming back. I mean, they're running around thick as thieves with their camp buddies. Right. And it's just a beautiful thing. And then to see how Joni and Friends supports my wife and the other wives, and for her to be able to do that. Because for us as warriors, we lose that tribe when we get out, but we kind of start finding it along the way, especially as we get engaged with others, right? And then, but what we miss is that our wives and our kids don't get to find that community that we had before. They're not into that brotherhood or sisterhood. Right. And so for them to be able to come here and us to find that, it's just one big dysfunctional family. But the cool thing is that every year when we come back, or we have these little things and you meet up with the folks, you get to see the progress that they've made in their lives. Yes. That just blows me away. Right. Yeah.
That's a great testimony, Jay. I'd like for you to, if possible, just in brief, how does it affect more your wife, your relationship with you and your wife? How is Joni?
So for us, it's the communication skills that we learn, because we learn about the signs and symptoms and the causes of post-traumatic stress, and then we learn a little bit more about post-traumatic growth. And we learn really, like we talked about, like our caregiver is our weapon now.
Yes.
Right. So I have to maintain her like I would maintain my weapon and maintain that relationships. And then you were talking about Kintsugi, right? Like she is the gold that's gluing my broken pieces back
Yes.
together. I mean, Jesus is the glue,
Right.
but she's the gold that's in the glue,
Right.
right? Like he's what she's given to make me beautiful. And so to see that, but to have that, and then you saw her, she was taking her gifts and talents that God's given her, and she was doing hair for the women out
Yes.
here. I mean, I sent her a text message this last night, and I was like, hey, baby, I love you. I'm so proud of you. Getting to see you do and step into your Ephesians 2:10 calling and do the things that God's called you to do and equipped you to do makes me fall in love with you more, right? But we got to that point because we got the skills to communicate and to understand one another. And we have people that are safe that we can go and vent to, and they're not judging us or anything like that, right? Like as a vet, I want to run the stupid play all the way through. So I got to have somebody I can run it through with and be like, I'm not really at one. I just need to get that out.
Right.
And now I know, okay, Jay, we can settle back down and do the right thing.
Well, Jay, there's so much more that I'd like to talk to you about, but we'll probably come back and we'll be talking again. Thank you so much for joining us here on Veterans Impact Show. Thank you for being who you are here at Joni and Friends and your ministry that you have. If you would, just in brief, go ahead and mention your ministry.
So I do a ministry. So we're kind of associated a little bit with Samaritan's Purse or Operation Hill or Patriots. If you're a post 9/11 combat vet and you deserve a marriage retreat, that's a good organization. We also do with an organization called Patriot Outfitters, and I will make sure that you guys get the info for that. But we do hunts and fishing trips for combat vets and first responders, and they're really cool. And then we also do 2 marriage retreats for combat vets and first responders because the statistics are similar. So I know 90% of warriors that are like me aren't married anymore, right? So it's only 10% of those. In the law enforcement community, the first responder community, the statistic numbers are close to the same.
Right.
And so, if we can keep those family units together, what kind of impact are we going to have in our communities? And then what kind of impact is that going to have later generations down the line? Right?
Wonderful. Well, Jay, thank you, first of all, for what you do. Thank you for your willingness. Thank you for not allowing the fact that, okay, you have a disability and things may be a little bit more difficult. Thank you for not allowing that to stop you. Thank you for moving forward. Thank you for being here.
Cedric, that was a great interview, and I really enjoyed getting to know him a little bit. But what you couldn't see, and Mary Grace can tell you about this as well, he's sitting on a Segway wheelchair with just 2 wheels.
Just 2
that balances, and that guy can scoot. He gets everywhere. I mean, ain't nothing going to keep him back. And I think that the point he made about being able to follow his daughter to the bus stop, follow his daughter on the bicycle, brings him back in to his family. And that's what I saw so much of at the Joni and Friends at the Navasota retreat. And thank you for saying that we always do the best one in Texas, but those other retreats are fantastic around the United States. You want to go to Joni and Friends, that's JONI and friends.org, and take a look. And you want to sign up. If you're qualified and a veteran, you want to sign up. If you want to be a mentor, if you want to be a volunteer and they need them, you've got to sign up. But there's some things you've got to do, because they want to make sure that the people that are there are competent, capable, and safe for children and families. So
can I say, I was just going to say this, Jim, again, having been involved and being able to see behind the curtain, the prep that goes into ensuring that it's a safe environment, the prep that goes into ensuring that your children are cared for 24/7, or the time that the volunteers have them. You don't have them all day, but the time that the volunteers have, the care that goes into, and the preciseness that goes into the programming that's needed, the things, the education. I love the fact that Joni and Friends allows us to share our faith in the education while we are working with the vets, because part of the ability to grow, part of the ability to come out of some of the situations is the fact that we have a faith and we can build that and combine that with the other information that's going there. PTSD to PTG, talking about the caregivers, which for a long time they've been forgotten about, the caregivers. And Joni and Friends makes a place to ensure that everybody gets something, everybody gets what they need.
One of the other things I did not get the chance to participate in, probably because I'm very, very allergic to cigars. But you had a cigars get together every evening. Holy smokes.
Yes.
And I heard the conversations were phenomenal. Tell us a little bit about that, because that gives a more intimate relationship for these veterans to talk to each other in a quiet setting.
Yeah, and once the day is done, we've had dinner, we've had dessert. It gives an opportunity. There's games in the cafeteria for the families, but a lot of the vets likes to go down for what's called Holy Smokes. So we have a cigar concierge or whatever they call them, right? Guys that are very knowledgeable about cigar smoking, but more than the cigar smoking is the opportunity for the intimacy and the conversation, where nothing is off limits, but everybody gets an opportunity to share their opinion. Sometimes the conversation goes much deeper than it did during the day, during the classes, during the breakouts. The conversation there gets deeper, and the gentlemen and ladies have had an opportunity to sort of concentrate, to think about, to contemplate over what was talked about, and then come together down there in a very intimate setting. And sometimes it goes late into the night, into the morning, depending on the conversation, but it's there and everybody feels welcome. It's a time we talk about that family feeling. It comes together even more down at Holy Smokes.
Yeah, and I think that is a phenomenal thing, and I think that's important. And some of the activities, now we talked about this, and I'd like for Jordan to put up some of those B-roll that we shot. Swimming. Diane was helping. I took a picture of Diane helping that child learn to swim, and that's my wife in the middle of that. And she was wonderful with those children, and she did so much with those kids. And that gives the caretaker moms a real feeling of, wow, somebody else is involved with my child. Right. Somebody else is reaching into that child's life and teaching them to swim. I think one of the big fun things for me, I've hunted all my life. I haven't been able to hunt in a number of years because of time and not having a place. But they had a trap range that I was able to go and shoot trap. I used to love to do that. Matter of fact, I was taught to shoot trap by a Canadian Grand National champion. So that's a fun thing for me to do. And it is so safe. They had so many safety precautions to be able to protect you. They also have horseback riding. Mm-hmm. Now, I love horses. This time I didn't do it because I wanted somebody else to get the chance, but they have horseback riding in this beautiful 1,400 acres. I mean, this place is great, and great lakes.
Another thing that they do, they offer for the caregivers and the veterans, they offer massages. The masseuses, they come in and they offer a massage there. Just things that I've been involved in a lot of retreats, right? And it's all good. But what is done here, there's such a level of care and detail that is put into this. It's outstanding.
Yeah, in a beautiful, beautiful facility. So again, go to joniandfriends.org, JONI. Take a look, because there are retreats around the nation. Also, these retreats are free to the veteran and their family. Now, as a volunteer, yes, we lovingly pay to be a part of that. But they need donations. Everybody does. This is a donation that saves lives. This is a donation that saves families. Mm-hmm. Yes. So please donate. And when we come back, we'll finish up talking about Joni and Friends. This is Veterans Impact. Welcome back, and thanks to our great sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage, Healing Thine Hearts Ministry, and Symbios Integrative Health. Now, let's get back to this conversation. I just want to say thank you again, Mary Grace, for an absolutely phenomenal 5 days down in Navasota. And I know that you guys are going to be doing it. When are you going to be doing it next year? Do you know?
Yeah, so next year, I do have the dates for next year. For our Texas Warrior Getaway, it's going to be August 6th through the 10th. And we're really excited about that one because that is the week before school starts in Texas. And so we think it's a good opportunity for families to come out and spend time together before they launch into the busy school season. So August 6th through the 10th will be our next Warrior Getaway in 2025 out in Navasota, Texas.
So look it up. You'd have a ball. You get to know Cedric and you get to know me because Diane and I are going to be there without a doubt. We're signing up. And we want you to really get the feel. We've had a couple of people to talk to you about it and what it means to them. But I got to tell you, the only way it's going to mean something to you is if you go.
That's right.
And you're a part of it. And it's not just observing, but it's being there and getting to know. One of the most interesting people I met was the chaplain. I can't even think. Mike, was that his name?
Bob.
Amazing guy. He is also a Vietnam veteran and an Episcopal chaplain. He, I think, works in that facility. It was great to talk with all of these people. And I want to thank Charlene Johns for being there to kind of keep the levity and the craziness going. That was a lot of fun.
Right.
Now, Cedric, you can say thank you to me, brother. I did not show and give Jordan that picture of you and I with I'm not going to do it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that.
We had fun. I think it's important for you to find out how you and your family could have fun and meet great people like Mary Grace Burkey and Becky and so many others. I do have one question that's a little off the wall. Does Joni Erickson Chada ever get to go to these retreats and participate?
So in the past, she has. In fact, she's been down to Camp Allen in Navasota with us multiple times over the years. She's limiting her travel more to the California area these days, but we have had the honor of hosting her down there at our family retreats in the summer in the past.
I think that's absolutely fantastic. And your husband, didn't your husband get to participate in this as well? Didn't I meet him?
You did. Actually, my husband and I met at Warrior Getaway 9 years ago. So that is actually how we met. He was one of our wounded veterans that came in. And so we've been together for 8 years now. And that really helped my perspective. I already loved what I did with Joni and Friends. I already had a passion for what I did. But my husband, being a wounded veteran, has just kind of grown my passion. I've gotten to have more that caregiver experience. And so that has helped me not shift my focus, but kind of sharpen my focus on what it is that we're doing at Warrior Getaway, because I know how much it means to me and as a caregiver. And so that's helped me be able to grow our program in the right direction because I have that experience. So we've really, brought more of a focus into our caregiver care at Warrior Getaway now because of that experience. And so we're really thankful for that at Joni and Friends, Texas.
And that is so important. Caregivers.
Yes.
Where would we be
Without them?
Yeah.
We'd be lost.
Absolutely.
Mary Grace, just in brief, I think we'd be remiss if I didn't give you an opportunity to let you tell the story about the family who chose Joni and Friends Warrior Getaway instead of Disney. Can you tell us about that real quick?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That is one of our favorites. We have had a family. They had two options. They had an option to take their kids to Disney World, but it conflicted with the dates of Warrior Getaway. And their family had been to Warrior Getaway in the past, and their children said, I would rather go to a Joni and Friends Warrior Getaway than to go to Disney World. And so they passed up on a Disney World opportunity to come have that community and fellowship that you find at Warrior Getaway instead. So we're really thankful for that
Yes.
story, because I think it really pushes the importance of what we do, and that even the kids love it. It's not just the veterans, not just the caregivers, the entire family loves being there. And I loved what Ed said in his interview earlier. He said, you can't go wrong being at Joni and Friends. And I
Right.
think that kind of says it all.
Well, one of the things that I observed too with this program, which I observed a number of years ago working with Snowball Express, the children who are children of men and women who have been injured and their parents are caregiving, they get a chance to be with other children that are in like families, and they get the chance to talk. And we're talking about healing the caregivers, but it helps heal the children as well. It really helps the children a great deal. So I want to say it one more time, Cedric.
Yes, sir.
Joni and Friends.
Yes.
JONI and Friends.org. We want you to donate. We want you to participate. We want you to be a part of it. If you want to join a great family, this is a great one to do. Wouldn't you agree, Mary Grace?
Absolutely, absolutely. And like I said earlier, we serve all veterans from all eras and their families. And stuff that I always like to point out about Warrior Getaways, there's lots of veteran opportunities out there. There are great organizations that offer all sorts of things to our veterans. But the really special thing about Joni and Friends is how we serve the entire family, because we know that the family is affected, not just the veteran when they come back from war.
It's great. I like to close with a prayer.
Yes, sir.
And I tell you what, I think today my pastor should give the prayer.
Gladly.
Well,
Gladly.
go right ahead.
So, Father, we thank you for this time. We thank you for the opportunity to come together. We thank you for Veterans Impact Show. We thank you for Joni and Friends. We thank you for Healing Thine Hearts and all that goes into serving your people. Lord, we ask that you continue to give us the opportunity to serve your people, to watch over them, for the caregivers that give so much of their time and heart, that we be able to help them, to give them hope, to give them healing in a time where quite often they're struggling. Be our strength, continue to guide us, bring those who would come alongside of us, Father. And we just thank you in all things that you allow us to be your hands, your feet, even your voice in the world. In Jesus' name we pray. One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Join us. Join this movement to bring everybody together to help, hope, and healing. Go to veteransimpactshow.com. Take a look. Send me an email.
Yes.
I'm on there. Cedric's on there.
Yes.
Communicate with us because we're here for you. This is Veterans Impact Show.